In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 creative ideas that I thought of which can become the funding sources for universal basic income. So if you're interested in knowing 5 alternatives to fund universal basic income that is not within the government, then stay tuned to this video. So this channel is really dedicated to helping busy full-time professionals to master investing and get a high return long-term. So these videos are designed to help you make an extra 1K, 10K, or even 100K from investing. So if you want to get notified when the next one comes out, then hit on the subscribe button. So before we start, I just want to celebrate another success story where Mike exited his tech shares for 100% profit in 6 months, his chef shares for 35% profit in 6 weeks to 5 months, and finally his 3M call options for 31% profit in 6.5 months. So congratulations, Mike. You did a fantastic job, and I look forward to your next success story. And if you are interested in joining Investing Accelerator, then this month I'm looking for 15 individuals without a financial background to help them master investing. And the goal is to make 30% a year, and you will find more details in the description, which is the free case study. So first creative idea is really the people who have gotten UBI before becomes alumni, and then they can contribute a part of their salary back to the UBI program so that the next person gets help too. Because at some level, once they get a new job, so on, they don't need the UBI anymore, so then they can kind of donate and reroute that wealth back to people who are in need of UBI. So for example, in this case, let's say the average income is $50,000, and for the first year after you get out of UBI, you give 10% back. So that's $5,000. And that is already enough to cover a person's 40% of their universal basic income. And that's quite significant. And in year 2, you might want to give a little bit less, like 5%. So that will cover 20% of another person's UBI, and the next year, 3%, and so on. So then that allows people, the alumni of UBI, to give back and contribute to the program. Because if nobody is giving back, then it will be hard to sustain the program. Now, the second idea is really to host a GoFundMe campaign. That's actually quite interesting because when you think about GoFundMe, there's actually quite a few scams there where people try to raise money for cancer kids and they use the money for vacation, or people lie about themselves and then they raise money on GoFundMe. But anyways, when you think about the poverty ratio, 1 out of 10 people is below the poverty line. That means if you are a person below the poverty line and you know 9 other people who are willing to help you out, they can get you out of poverty. That is it. If you are a person below the poverty line and you have 9 friends that will help you out, you can get universal basic income from them. So how does the math work? Now, let's say you want $1,000 a month from 9 friends. And so you divide that by 9. So that's $111 per friend, which is $3.7 per day from your friends. And that's it. It's around $4 a day from your friends. Now, what if you can use this on multiple income sources? So you don't rely on your friends on 100% of the income. You only rely on your friends on a portion of it. Let's say you only want $200 a month from your friend. Then they can reduce that amount and it can be $1 a day. And I'm quite sure for $1 a day, and if you are below the poverty line, if you're really struggling, they will be willing to help you out. So this is totally doable and possible as well. Now, the third idea is, what if people that are below the poverty line can pay for themselves through recording YouTube video? Now, I searched this up, and on average, the CPM for YouTube is around $6 to $8 per 1,000 views. And that means if you make a YouTube video and you get 1,000 views, assuming you got monetized, then you will get around $5 per 1,000 views. So if the people who get universal basic income are required to record videos of their journey and publish it on YouTube, and it gets enough views, that can potentially be an income source for them and pay for their universal basic income. So for example, they might need to record a 1-hour video per week to document their journey. So that's quite reasonable. And if they get 1,000 views per video, so that is $200 a month. So that can cover 20% of a person's universal basic income. And the fourth idea is really, what if they can sell their data? And that is very interesting because historically, people who make money from data are like Google, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, so on and so forth. But there's really no way for the general public like me and you to make money from our own data. But what if we are willing to sell our own data? Because advertisers will often want to buy your data so then they understand who you are, so that they can understand whether they want to show you ads or not. So let's say I'm looking for a male between 30 to 45 years old who like video games, okay? I can do that if you are willing to tell me who you are, which is selling me your data. And you'll be surprised how much advertisers pay for it. Just look at the amount of revenue Facebook make each year. They make a lot of money. And that's because advertisers are willing to pay Facebook so then they can become very precise when it comes to targeting you. And what if there's a platform where you allow the advertisers to track your credit card spending? In return, they get to understand who you are so then they can provide you with better ads and pay you for that data. And what if they are willing to pay you $200 a month to get access to that data? And if that is the case, that is fantastic because now you have the option to sell your data to the advertisers at a cost. Now, obviously, not everyone is going to sell their data, but for the people who are below the poverty line, you might value money more than a little bit of privacy about yourself. Because the truth is, all the big tech companies are tracking you anyways, so why don't you make money out of it? Now, the fifth idea is really around, what can people below the poverty line do for the community? And recently, there's a San Francisco startup called the TaskRabbit. So basically, you can do a lot of little things for people within the neighborhood, and you can get paid for it. So, for example, you can pick up some food, you can deliver mail, you can do some laundry, and it might be a $5, $10, $15 task. And by doing so, you can earn a part of your universal basic income. And let's say it's $10 a task and you do 10 tasks, then that's already $100 a month. So that can be quite an achievable thing that people below the poverty line can do to earn some extra money. So when you think about all these different types of income sources, from the alumni to GoFundMe to YouTube to selling your data to TaskRabbit, you can easily get over $1,000 a month. And you can actually see the chart here where I plotted it for you. And after 4 or 5 ideas, you actually exceed $1,000 a month. So that's fantastic. So when you think about the future, there's a lot of automation that's going to be happening. The work of 10 people will be reduced to 5 people, will be reduced to 3 people, will be reduced to 1 person. So when you are looking at this economy, there are 2 views to it. The first view is that, oh my God, everyone is going to be out of a job. And a lot of YouTube videos that I see actually have this view. And this instills fear in the society, and this actually slows down innovation. And when you look at the other side of the coin, this is actually fantastic because if you are able to do the work of 10 people, you're so much more efficient, you're so much more powerful, and you can produce so much more, and you can change the world faster. And you can also make more money as well because the work of 10 people is now done by 1 person. So when you think about that, this is very positive because now you have an extra 9 people that are willing to help you to do other tasks to grow your economy faster. So there's both sides of the same coin when it comes to innovation. And in this case, I just want to share an interesting example from a book I read called Always Day One. I don't have it with me. It's in my other house. And basically, it talks about how Amazon is one of the biggest startups in the world. And basically within each department, they're always trying to automate and out-innovate themselves. So for example, let's say you're in the purchasing department, you might want to develop an algorithm to determine the purchase price for a lot of goods like Amazon Basics or whatnot. And then after 3 to 6 months, you have automated this part. Now you can't even do purchasing anymore because the computer will do it for you. So now, as a person within Amazon, they wouldn't fire you, but you need to think about what you want to do next so then you innovate within the company. And then once you start doing that, let's say you're managing different robots, then you will try to automate that. So then you create a system to manage robots. And then after that, then you might want to develop a new product, and then you develop a system to create a new products, so on and so forth. So because they're always innovating, they're always automating, and they're always moving ahead, you can see that people can be tired within Amazon, but then they're also innovating in such a manner so that they don't become obsolete. And that is the key point. And if people are not changing themselves, if people are not improving, then over time, they'll become obsolete. And this will be a big problem for the economy because they're not growing. So when you think about that, in the future, the entire society will be a lot more agile. The entire society will be learning a lot more new skills, and it will require more time to develop and automate and then learn new skills and then go backwards and basically optimizing the system over time. So that's where I think we're heading in the future. So you can either put your head in the sand and ignore this reality, or you can start learning and automating your task as well. So that's the end of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.